Hello people and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is MB Kiernan, but you can call me Maria. So first of all, I just want to say my studio tour is coming soon, I promise, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, have another time-lapse video, the good old time-lapse, with my face this time and me talking about what the art is gonna be. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more arty-farty content. So this piece that I am working on in this video is fan art. And I don't usually do fan art, like I don't do it a lot. But when I do, it's more than likely going to be very, very random. It's not going to be anything current at all. So yeah, have Ronnie James Dio fighting a dragon. Heck yeah. And I hear you ask, who is Ronnie James Dio and why is he fighting a dragon? Well, Ronnie James Dio was a heavy metal vocalist, and he is often cited as being one of the most influential heavy metal vocalists of all time. He had an incredible voice, oh my gosh. And he was a fantastic performer as well. He was the original frontman of the band Rainbow. He took over from Ozzy Osbourne when Ozzy departed Black Sabbath. And then he went and formed his own group, Dio, who were quite successful in the 80s. They had 2 back-to-back platinum-selling albums, and they were just incredible. I think they deserved a hell of a lot more commercial success, but commercial success didn't really matter to Ronnie. And he created some awesome tunes. He was an amazing songwriter, an amazing singer, and an amazing performer. So yeah, why is he fighting a dragon? Well, recently I bought a Blu-ray of Dio live in 1986 in Philadelphia, and it was during the Sacred Heart tour. Now, I know I just said recently and Blu-ray in the same sentence, but I still like to buy physical copies of things because I like to not have to rely on an internet connection in order to watch things. But anyway, call me old because I probably am to a lot of people. Anyway, during this concert, their stage set was amazing. It was like just everything that I love. It was like all these like castle ruins, and they had a huge animatronic dragon on stage as well, which Dio, in the middle of the concert, fought with a laser sword, and it was epic. It was great entertainment. God, the 80s, they knew how to entertain. So I wanted to pay homage to that moment, and I actually did the sketch for this while I was watching the concert because I just felt compelled to draw this fantastic, iconic moment. Anyway, so oh yeah, and by the way, the dragon's name was Dean. I love that for him. Anyway, so now that I have explained my reasons for drawing this, let's talk about how I went about and created it. So this, as you may have seen, it started as a sketch. As I said, it was a sketch I did in my sketchbook, and I scanned it in and started working on it on Krita. Now, initially, I was just going to clean up said sketch and give it a splash of colour. And yeah, when I got started, it became a lot more. I began to experiment with some texture brushes, which you can kind of see here. I think I went over a lot of it because I just didn't like how it was coming out. And yeah, I ended up adding a lot more detail to the sketch, which you'll probably see in a bit. I think I've already done it for Ronnie, but I haven't done it for Dean yet. But yeah. Oh no, maybe I didn't. But yeah, I ended up cleaning up the sketch and detailing a lot more, and then I ended up inking it and colouring it in the usual style that I do digital art. So it became a lot more than originally planned. This was supposed to be a quick sketch. Now, as you can see, I am inking. I've started inking already, and I like doing this way of inking, like having a very like detailed sketch underneath, like that rough sketch with as much detail as possible, and then inking on top of it. It brings me back to a more sort of a traditional style. I like inking traditionally. It's a bit more forgiving in digital art, obviously, but Um, yeah, I like it a lot more. I'm not very good at doing clean line art. Now, I love seeing it in other people's art, but I can't do it. I hate it in my own. It just doesn't suit my style, I suppose. But yeah, I just literally use like it's called ink pen rough. Yeah, ink pen 4 rough actually on Krita if you're interested. I don't know if I've modified it or anything. I might have, but I like the texture it gives. It gives me more of a like a brush pen fine liner vibe, and I really like that. So anyway, we're inking now, and yeah, we haven't come to the color palette yet, but I am going to talk about it a bit because it will be coming up shortly. So yeah, in order to pay homage to this iconic moment in this iconic concert, it was an incredible concert, by the way. I think there's clips of it on YouTube if you're interested. But anyway, I decided to go for a color palette that was very reminiscent of 80s fantasy films, and I love the 80s fantasy films. Like, yeah, they're very cheesy at times, but I just love the style of them. Like, there was a lot of love, there was a lot of work that was put into them, like with the creatures and the animatronics and all this, but oh, I love the color palettes that they use. Just these wacky things like a green sky or a red sky or a yellow sky, and it was great. It was a great era, and like, you know, nowadays it's all like everybody's going for that gritty realism. I think Lord of the Rings probably brought that in. Now, I love Lord of the Rings because you do see that lovely fantasy element, but nowadays when a fantasy film comes out, it feels a bit more like science fiction or post-apocalyptic sort of things. I don't know. I think most of the time, every time I think of, like, I suppose Dune is a sci-fi film, but like I suppose it has them fantasy elements, but I don't know, I think everything is very gritty realism. I suppose when you look at Game of Thrones as well, like, it's very gritty realism. Despite the fact that it has dragons and everything, but it just feels very, very gritty realism, like historical fantasy fiction. And there's nothing wrong with that style. I love the look of the 80s fantasy film, and I really wish that kind of like wackiness would come back into like fantasy films. And I think everybody's so used to seeing realistic color palettes that they'd be looking at those color palettes of the 80s and going, my god, what is going on? But anyway, we are actually onto the coloring now, and as you can see, I'm playing around with the background color, and I was gonna do this rainbow color, and it kind of looked nice at the start, and I'm going through all the blending layers. It's very jarring. Just trying to figure out how I could tone it down. And then I kind of realized that maybe I shouldn't, because it might clash with the colors of the figures. It might just distract from them a little bit. So I decided to step back and do the colors of the figures first. And I'll go back to the background in a while. I just left it as a flat color for now. Well, sort of like a shaded gradient color. So anyway, we are coloring Dean here, and I based his color scheme off the dragon on the album cover for Sacred Heart. And he was a yellow dragon, and I imagine he was Dean, and that's why they had the big animatronic dragon on stage. So yeah, he was a yellowy dragon. It's kind of hard to see the colors of him on stage. He does have red eyes. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it was hard to see the color scheme, so I went with the colors of the one on the album because I assumed it's the same dragon. I'm talking a lot of crap in this. But anyway. Yeah, I really like how he turned out. It actually really suited it. There's a good color scheme. It's very fantasy. You don't see a lot of yellow, lovely yellow dragons, though I did tone it down a lot because I didn't want it too bright in the end. So obviously Dean's design was based on the animatronic dragon on stage with all the gnarly looking teeth and stuff like that. So because I really liked it, I just wanted to make it look a little less doofy. Obviously, because there was an animatronic dragon in the 80s, it's gonna look a little bit doofy. It was great for the time, like, very well done. Very state-of-the-art for 1986. But anyway, we are now coloring Dio, and obviously, like, he's gonna have a human color scheme because he's human. But anyway, yeah, his outfit, obviously it's based on the outfit that he wore on stage, which was just fabulous. It was like this medieval glam, you know. At the start of the concert, he was wearing like a sort of a, I think it's like a snakeskin pattern sort of a waistcoat with long dovetails, and I was gonna include that in the sketch, but I thought to myself, you know, just keep it simple, because, you know, he didn't actually wear that waistcoat. He took it off after like 4 or 5 songs, and he wasn't wearing it while he was fighting Dean, and I wanted to stay true to that moment. So yeah, I just put him in his lovely t-shirt and pants and fancy boots with the like glittery stuff that was all over it. I think it's like beads or sequins that are on it. I really don't know, but it was shiny and it was nice. So yeah, and obviously, oh, he has those lovely leather cuffs on them, which is pretty cool actually. I really want them. So yeah, his laser sword obviously was red, which was actually quite nice because it matched Dean's eyes. So it just kind of tied it in artistically for me anyway. I'm going through like shading, and obviously most of the shading is done due to like me putting a lot of shading in the sketch, but I'm just kind of like colorizing it, I suppose, just to give it a little bit more of something else. Oh yeah, and there's that the castle runes there. I wanted Dean to be kind of like almost like crawling down the castle runes and towering over Dio. Now we are back to the background color, and I decided I went through the cues, obviously here as you can see, and I landed on that green color because I thought, oh yeah, that's great, there's no green anywhere else, and it contrasts great with the red, and it looks very 80s fantasy film, and I love it. It's like the boss battle, you know, instead of the red sky you have the green, you know. I just thought that was really nice. It looks very ominous. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I'm going around doing like highlights and stuff, and just, oh, there we go, we're putting the shiny on Dio's outfit. Heck yeah. But yeah, I'm just adding some highlights. I'll be adding textures, sparkles, yeah, and this is my random fan art. And I think I did well, paying homage to both Dio's performance in that iconic moment, and also the 80s fantasy film genre. Also, I think Dio was probably a bit partial to the fantasy genre. I say I think, and you know, it's a bit obvious in his songwriting. Like when you listen to like in his Rainbow era, Temple of the King, Lady of the Lake, was the Man on the Silver Mountain, and obviously Stargazer. If you want a good Dio song to listen to, just like to hear how amazing his vocals are, I would recommend Stargazer by Rainbow, because that was the first time I ever heard him. I didn't realize it at the time, but my god, that vocal just blew my mind. So I'm adding some textures now anyway. Oh my gosh, this texture brush was so laggy, and I don't know, was it just because I was screen recording, or whether it was because I was using a big file or something. But it was so laggy, and I was literally just it just took so long. Oh, there's some smoke coming out of Dean's nose there. Anyway, that is pretty much it for that. Yeah, that is it. That is near the end of the video. Yeah, that is my random fan art for you today. It's very random, and I absolutely love it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed watching me draw Ronnie James Dio fighting a dragon. I hope you join me in future videos. Don't forget, again, to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Actually, tell me who's your favorite band, who's your favorite singer. I would like to know down in the comments below. And stay creative, my people. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!